The Lord Almighty also bring His Spirit in every corner of the world in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. The earth belongs to the Lord, and He will perfect His plan. So this very evening we go again like that. I told you there are three components of something, but we only dealt with one. We even go with all of it this very evening. Last Thursday, what did we deal with? Let me just take. Nobody knows? We talked about the more excellent what? Way of appreciating God and thanksgiving. Because the question came and we dealt with just maybe about 5-10 minutes of it and we moved on. But this very evening we complete that. To give God thanks, to appreciate God. Pastor Charles was sharing something that most of us have problem. That is spiritual understanding. Understanding is to prioritize your way, your life, and your time in orderly importance of what? What that which is the most. The problem with human beings is that we chase vanity. That which is the most important thing we don't follow. You know, in the Bible, the Bible told us that God so loved the world in John 3:16 that what He did to prove that He so loved the world was to give all. Are you following me? And for we human beings, God expects us. That is which is the most important thing. Until one's priority changes, He has not changed. Until one's priority changes, the person has not changed. He may claim that he has changed, but he has not changed. Because until that priority changes, where the spiritual priority, the thing that is more important than the spiritual thing is the thing you face. That's why the Bible tells us, set up your mind on things that are above. That's where you are now, because one who is born of God is a transformed individual. That transformed individual, according to John 3:5-6, is a spirit of God. That who is born of God is a spirit of God. Because except one is a spirit of God, no one can worship God in spirit and in truth. The only one that can worship in spirit is a spirit. I hope that we get it. The only one that can worship in spirit is a spirit. And the scripture tells us that God is what? Spirit. And those who worship Him, they must be in spirit worshiping Him. And if you go to 1 Corinthians 2, you look at 11-14, it says, this is God you have. Can you read that for us, please? Let's go.
1 Corinthians 2:14.
11-14.
Oh, 1 Corinthians 2:11-14. For what man knoweth the things of a man, save the spirit of man which is in him? Mm-hmm. Even so the things of God knoweth no man, but the Spirit of God.
We may even stop right there. Thank you, my sister. Even so, the things of God, no man knows it except the Spirit of God. Until the spirit of man is taken off and the Spirit of God takes over, one is not born of God. When the Spirit of God comes in, then obviously your mind is spiritual, your body is spiritual. That's why we say that one who is born again has 3 or 4 characteristics, right? You do remember that. There are 4 characteristics for one who is born again. Yeah. If one is missing, the person is not born again. Yes. You must have what? A spiritual heart. This cannot go. The heart of stone must go. And then the heart of flesh will take over. Otherwise, you will not have the heart of compassion and the love like God. Because you see, God told us in one thing. He said, because the way He is, that's the way we should be. Give me 1 John 4:17, please.
1 John 4:17.
Yes.
Herein is our love made perfect, that we may have boldness in the day of judgment. Because as He is, so are we in this world.
As He is, so are we in this world. That goes back to what? Genesis. When God created man in His own image and spirit. When that was lost, I told you that the only purpose God sent His only begotten Son is that people may be transformed back into His image. Without that image, nobody can relate to God. It's not possible. Because Amos 3:3 told us very clearly that two cannot work together except they are in agreement. If one is spirit, one is flesh, it cannot work. That's why flesh and blood can never enter into the kingdom of God. So to really work with God, one must merge and fuse spiritually in agreement. like a fuse, electric fuse. You fuse in spiritual agreement, otherwise it will not work. That's why Jesus Christ was saying, one thing, the reason why that everything my Father told me to do, I did it. Because of that, then I could stand boldly and say, one thing, I and my Father are one. Because we are all together working in harmony. So, when you are giving appreciation, there are 3 components. If you want God to accept it, please listen to me. I'm talking about those who are desirous and chasing God and pursuing God and want to enter into God's rest. I'm not talking about the world. Most of us still appreciate God in the manner of the world. Bible says we have changed. We have not changed. To appreciate God, there are 3 components. Number 1, we said, remember the first one we discussed. And that's the one from where there we will start again. What was the first thing? I want to appreciate God. I want to give thanksgiving. I'm grateful to God for what God has done for me. What is the first thing that you must do? I say is a foundation of appreciation. Mend their ways. Listen to me carefully. If any one of you, if you do something good to me, the way I will appreciate that is to say, one thing, wow, this person did this to me and did this for my own good. You know what I will do? Whatever that hurts this person, whatever that grieves this person, I will not do it anymore. Even our children do that. Sometimes we all have good children. I'm not going to say. Sometimes when you do something nice with a child will turn them around to start trying to do what? Come on. To make amends. The same thing with employees. Is it not the case? With God, you must amend their ways. Otherwise, God will not accept the appreciation. That's the first thing you must realize. God has done this wonderful thing to me. Now, what can I do to show God truly that I appreciate what He has done for me? And that's why God told us in Proverbs 15, we quoted Proverbs 15, 8 and 9. He said what? He said, look, the sacrifice of... Okay, go ahead.
Proverbs 15, 8 and 9. The sacrifice of the wicked is an abomination to the Lord, but the prayer of the upright is His delight. The way of the wicked is an abomination unto the Lord, but He loveth him that follows after righteousness.
The prayer of the upright and the sacrifice of the wicked. In other words, the appreciation of the wicked is not accepted by God. God cannot accept any appreciation from any wicked heart. I'm just trying to tell you right now. That's what happened with Cain, right? Cain went and offered a sacrifice. Abel also offered a sacrifice. But God rejected that of Cain. Why? Come on, why? Because of wicked heart. He told Cain, he said, if you do good in your heart, then you will be accepted. And exactly after that, Cain manifested himself. What did he do? Showed his wicked heart. The same thing that God is talking about. God will not accept that. There's no way God accepts somebody that is showing appreciation, but in wickedness. It's not possible. And that is why we read Isaiah please 1. 11 to 18. We read that, and we're going to move on.
Isaiah 1, 11 to 18.
Yes.
To what purpose is the multitude of your sacrifices unto me, saith the Lord? I am full of the burnt offerings of rams and the fat of fed beasts, and I delight not in the blood of bullocks or of lambs or of he-goats. When you come to appear before me, who has required this at your hand or to tread my courts? Bring no more vain oblations. Incense is an abomination unto me. The new moons and the Sabbaths, the calling of assemblies, I cannot away with it. It is iniquity, even the solemn meeting. Your new moons and your appointed feasts, my soul hates. They are a trouble unto me. I am weary to bear them. And when you spread forth your hands, I will hide my eyes from you. Yea, when you make many prayers, I will not hear. Your hands are full of blood. Wash you, make you clean. Put away the evil of your doings from before my eyes. Cease to do evil. Learn to do well. Seek judgment. Relieve the oppressed. Judge the fatherless. Plead for the widow. Come now, and let us reason together, saith the Lord. Though your sins be as scarlet, they shall be as white as snow. Though they be red like crimson, they shall be as wool.
You see, but the world, when something they think is good happens to them, the first thing the world will do is to do what?
Party.
It's party. And we still do it. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with party. Listen to me. I'm trying to talk about the children of God. To please God, for God to accept it. God is saying that the sacrifice, that appreciation one is doing in sin, he said is iniquity unto him. I'm not the one who said, please understand what I say. It's iniquity unto him. Don't even do that. That's why he told us, leave me Matthew, please, 5, 23, 24.
Matthew 5, 23 and 24. Therefore, if thou bring thy gift to the altar, and there remembereth that thy brother has aught against thee, leave there thy gift before the altar, and go thy way. First, be reconciled to thy brother, and then come and offer thy gift.
Be reconciled first, otherwise I will not accept that. Because you know one thing, you are mocking me and insulting me by coming and sacrificing and giving me thanksgiving and appreciating me actually when you are there doing what I tell you not to do. That's what God is saying. I will not accept it. You can go ahead and do that and please the world, but it's not me. But I search the heart first. Why is God saying that? There is no other sacrifice for God. God will not eat money. God will not eat anything. But the sacrifice is Psalm 51:17, please.
Psalm 51:17. The
Yes.
sacrifices of God are a broken spirit. A broken and a contrite heart, O God, thou wilt not despise.
A broken spirit, one ready to mend, willing to forsake and say, I will not do it anymore. Lord, I appreciate what you did. Now you have opened my eyes, I can see what I used to do to offend you. I will go now and do it no more. That's why Jesus Christ told the woman who committed adultery. He said, if you, in other words, I'm trying to give you a different interpretation now, but it's the same. When the woman was caught in adultery, and Jesus Christ, I'm not going to condemn you, Christ was almost like saying in John 8:11. He said, now, if you want to show that you appreciate what I've done to you, then what? Sin no more. Otherwise, you don't appreciate it. If I do something good unto you, and you continue doing something bad unto me, what does that come to? That is, I'm returning evil for what? For good. And God is saying, whoever returns evil for good, what? Evil will not depart from that individual. Are you following me? And we saw an example where God is saying, what have I got to do with sacrifices? Anybody knows about that? Anybody? Yeah, we know about that. But if you look at this, let's rather move on. First Samuel, you see that obedience is better than what? Sacrifice. God has no business. There is nothing anyone does that will ever please God without obedience. Yes. My brother and sister, please. There is nothing anybody can do, no matter whatever the person is. There's nothing anybody can sacrifice. Because what would you sacrifice to God? God owns everything. And all he's asking for, if you want to show appreciation, show it in your heart. I want to see that heart first and go from there. Are you with me here now? Yes. Show that heart. Okay, the second one. I said there are three components. Number one, mend their ways and obey. Obedience is evidence. Listen to me. Obedience is the only evidence of appreciation. Please jot that down. Obedience is the only evidence that one appreciates God. Otherwise, there's no appreciation. There is nothing else one can do, belief, whatever you want to call it. Without obedience, it doesn't stand. The second component. Before you start celebrating, you know, we celebrate a lot. Are you with me? We celebrate a lot, right? We celebrate a lot. Yeah. I'm not saying you shouldn't, please, don't go now and leave here and say, you know, that man is telling us now, we should not even celebrate anymore and have parties. Please, if you want to have party and call the whole world, you can call the whole world. But I'm saying, if you want to walk in transformation and do the will of God, God is searching the heart first. When he sees the foundation, then he will be able to accept. If not, he will not accept it. Saul did the same thing. Saul went and preserved the best according to him. All right? Animals. And sacrificed unto God. And when someone said, well, you didn't do what you are told to do. This is our biggest problem. You see, Saul was celebrating and enjoying, maybe drunk. And Samuel said, you did not do what you're supposed to do. You know what Saul did? A stubborn man. He said, I did what I was commanded to do. Don't tell me that, Samuel. That is why God hated Saul. A stubborn heart. Don't tell me that. Samuel said, you know one thing? Because he didn't do that now, God now will take away everything from you. That was the first time that Saul said, I have sinned. You see? And then even when Samuel said, you have sinned, and God has left you, Saul was still stubborn. Samuel was leaving, Saul said, you're not going anywhere. You have to go with me now. Don't worry about what has happened. I understand God will forgive. Go with me now, let me go and there, so that people can exalt me. And when Samuel said he's not going to go, Saul did what? His clothes. The second component, without it, forget about their celebrating, appreciation God. Do unto others, every human being, as God has done to you. My brothers and sisters, please listen to me. Start from mend all your ways. That's the way you can show God, I appreciate what He has done for me. Because you know what that doesn't happen with many of us. Sometimes we call upon God. Lord, you know one thing? If you would even save me this time. I'm sure that many of us have prayed that prayer. Lord, if you would deliver me this time, oh no, I will turn a new leaf. And then He delivers us. Give it one week or 2 weeks or one day. We go back where? Where we were before. That's what God is like. You see that heart. So the second component, do unto others as God has done unto you. Without that, your appreciation is not accepted unto God. Now let's take it step by step. The first thing you do unto others is perfect love. As God has loved you, because the only way God did what He did for you because He loved you. Are we there? As He also has loved you, you must also love all others. That's why He said, if you don't, then you are being ungrateful unto God. Because God did what He did out of love for you. That's why He gave us a new commandment. Leave me, please, Matthew 30. Or John, please, 13. 34 to 30.
John 13:34. A new commandment I give unto you, that you love one another as I have loved you, that you also love one another. By this shall all men know that you are my disciples, if you have love one to another.
If you have love one to another, there is no other love that's greater than this, that one sacrifices himself. And He told us in Romans, give me Romans 5, 8 to 10.
Romans 5, 8 to 10.
Yes.
But God commended His love towards us, in that, while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. Much more then, being now justified by His blood, we shall be saved from wrath through Him. For if, when we were enemies, we were reconciled to God by the death of His Son, much more, being reconciled, we shall be saved by His life.
We shall be saved by His life. And why did He save us? Why? Come on, tell me. Why did God save us? There are two things, the reason why He saved us. Why? One, He loved, and what else?
To be reconciled.
To reconcile to His save us. He loved. He loved us, He saved us. And the second one is what? So that we will then go and save others. Remember the reason why God calls us to come to Him, to know Him, and then through us, others may know Him. I've called it. Read me, please. John 15:16.
John 15:16.
Yes.
You have not chosen me, but I have chosen you.
Why?
And ordained you that you should go and bring forth fruit, and that your fruit should remain.
That's why God has called us. To come to know Him, that's salvation. And then with that, we have to save others. Otherwise, if we don't bear fruit, then He said, I'll cut you down because I did that for you. Make sure you go and do it for others. That's why He tells us that anybody who hears, no matter whatever you are doing, no matter the appreciation, if there is someone in your heart that you hate, or even dislike, don't come and waste your time. I'm just saying, don't come and waste your time, because God regards one who actually has hatred in his heart as a murderer. And there's no murderer that will ever go into the kingdom of God. Read me 1 John 3:15, please.
1 John 3:15.
Yes.
Whosoever hated his brother is a murderer.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that no murderer has eternal life abiding in him.
Now, whoever hates his brother is a murderer. Whoever hates anybody is a murderer. But you know why? Why is God saying, if you don't have love for all, you don't have God? Let's get this reasoning, please. If you don't have love for all, you don't have love. There is no limit to love, number one. As God is to love, then love is also to forgiveness. You must have to do that. Because why? If you don't love others, you don't love God. And God is not with you. Read it, the 1 John, please, 4, 7, 8.
1 John 4, 7 and 8. Beloved, let us love one another. For love is of God. And everyone that loveth is born of God, and knoweth God. He that loveth not, knoweth not God, for God is love.
God is love. So where there's anything, any gap, where there's any lack of love, God is not there. As simple as that. Are you all following what I'm saying?
Yes.
God is not there. And that's why he told us, he said, if you actually do not love the way I love you, then what's the point? Read 1 John 3, please. 16 to 17.
1 John 3, 16 to 17.
Yes, ma'am.
Hereby perceive we the love of God, because he laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for the brethren.
We ought to lay down our lives as he did for the brethren, otherwise we are ungrateful. Please, I mean, there are so many scriptures, but I'm going, because we're going to have a meeting. I'm just going to, we ought to lay down our life. That's why he told us. Read me John, please. I'm jumping now, don't worry. Read me John 15, 12 and 13.
John 15, 12 and 13. This is my commandment, that you love one another, as I have loved you. Greater love has no man than this, that a man lays down his life for his friends. That
is the one who is transformed into the image of God. Anywhere there is lack of love, God is not there. And remember one thing, as we're going right now, love embodies what? Never in this life, we said, I think we're there with love almost every single day in this place. Never you ever try to take vengeance. And some of us still, I hope, never in this life, still remember anybody or pray against any human being. You should pray for your enemy until you are touched by the Spirit of God and there's a total transformation. Where actually you see somebody who's trying to kill you and you are crying inside and calling God, please have mercy. This individual does not know what he's doing. It is impossible for any human being to do that except the person is transformed into his image. That's what he was telling Nicodemus. Nicodemus, don't be surprised and don't be marveled. You will not understand Nicodemus except the Spirit of God comes to do that. And Nicodemus was worried and said, my goodness, how could anybody do this? He said, Nicodemus, when the Spirit of God is doing it, it's like a wind. You will hear it, but you don't see it. But it's the Spirit of God. But the Spirit of God does it unto those who are willing in their heart to surrender. He's able to change something where you will be in a position to then pray for your enemy. Not for his death, but for him to live. Because see, if you pray for him to die, then you have failed. You are so ungrateful to God. Because while yet you were enemies, remember? He did what? And this person who is your enemy now is because he's what? Why is somebody, when we say that somebody is my enemy, because like for example right now I don't have any enemy. There are people who may not like me, I don't care. Like I told you last Thursday. No, I don't really, honestly speaking. The most important thing is this. In all my life I pray to God, Lord, if you give me this spirit every single day to please you, everything you do to please God is a good thing. If there's anybody who doesn't like that, it's of the devil. I don't have time. I don't have to pray for the person. That's why last week I was saying one thing, we talk about spiritual, wrestling against the spirit. I say, I don't have time to wrestle against the spirit. I don't. I'm telling you honestly, my brother and sister, I don't have time. If the devil is anything, I don't even have time to recognize that. There's only one thing I'm praying God for time. Lord, let me do everything that will please you. In that way, if I do it, the devil is beneath me. That's all. If I do it, God is with me. If God is with me, then who can what? Be against me. That's a spiritual understanding we need to get. Do we wrestle against me? Of course. The enemy is always going to wrestle against you. But get to the point where you're not you, yourself is not the one wrestling against the spirit.
Amen.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. Get to that point, because you'll be wasting your time every day. So I'm wrestling with the spirit. How can you wrestle with the spirit? You're flesh. It's going to finish you. Worry about seeking first the kingdom and the righteousness of God. Once you do that, the devil becomes subject to you because God is with you. Are you there? Yes. So whatever you do, it told us, don't you ever take vengeance. If you do, you have taken vengeance against God. Because God will always remember, since I saved you, and now you want to kill this one. It's not the way it works. So we don't want to get into all that, but if you read me Leviticus 19:18, please.
Leviticus 19:18. Mm-hmm. Thou shalt not avenge, nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am the Lord. I am the Lord. And when Jesus Christ came, he told us in Matthew, please, 5:38-41. Matthew 5:30. 38-41.
Yes, ma'am.
You have heard that it has been said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I say unto you, that you resist not evil, but whosoever shall smite thee on thy right cheek, turn to him the other also. And if any man will sue you at the law, and take away thy coat, let him have thy cloak also. And whosoever shall compel thee to go a mile, go with him too.
What is all this crisis was telling us? Somebody may say, how can somebody come and take my coat? And say that's not what he's talking about in many ways. He's trying to tell you, no matter whatever happens, leave vengeance unto God. Don't worry about it. If you want to make heaven, don't get distracted by taking vengeance. Read me please, Romans 12:17.
Romans 12:17. Recompense to no man evil for evil. Mm-hmm. Provide things honest in the sight of all men.
On the sight of all men. 1 Thessalonians 5:15, please.
1 Thessalonians 5:15. See that none render evil for evil unto any man, but ever follow that which is good, both among yourselves and to all men.
Ever follow that which is good. What is that which is good? Pray for those who hate you. Try to do that. There was one time I came to this place and I told you that, have you ever tried? And has it ever worked for you? Where actually you got your enemy to bless you. Where your enemy will turn around and bless you. That's when you have arrived. Going a little bit with God. When your enemy is the one blessing you. You see? Continue your goodness. Do all that. You see, that is exactly what happened to David. David had opportunity to kill Saul many times and did not kill Saul. You know that Saul did not know when Saul opened his mouth. The mortal enemy of David opened his mouth and said, you know what, David, my son, you are blessed and you be king. But when you became king, make sure you don't kill my family. A king that was trying to kill Saul turned around and blessed him. Why? Because David never took vengeance. He left things unto God. If you bring or you want to embark on your appreciation, make sure you sit back and forgive everybody. Truthfully from your heart. I'm just trying to tell you that. Otherwise, that appreciation and thanksgiving, if you want to spend 1 million, God does not accept it. Because he told us in Matthew 6:12, what did he tell us? He said, forgive as we. Right? Go on.
Matthew 7:6
no.
to 12.
6:12. What are we?
Matthew 6:12.
Yes.
And forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Mm-hmm. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
That's all right. Forgive us as we do. In other words, I have already entered into a covenant with God. God, I'm saying, if I don't forgive anytime, don't forgive me. That is all. If I don't forgive, don't forgive me. So if I don't forgive, I have unforgiveness in my heart, and I'm coming there before God and saying, oh my goodness, Lord, I appreciate you. How wonderful. He said, you appreciate who? There is no appreciation we can show unto God than what we show unto human beings. You know that? Yes. I don't know if you know that the love, when we say, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with everything you have. In reality, God is talking about you loving human beings. Because whether you love God or not, it doesn't change God. The only way you can show God that you love God is what you do. Because why? His commandment. Let me please. 1 John 5, 2 to 3.
1 John 5, 2 to 3. By this we know that we love the children of God.
That's the way we know that we love the children of God. Yes?
When we love God and keep His commandments.
That is all. The way we love the children of God is that we keep God's commandments. Because all of God's commandments is really about what? Love. Loving what? Who? Loving one another, others. So you must check and make sure you have forgiven all before you present any kind of appreciation. God will not accept it. Number 2. Number three. Without forgiveness, you have failed in showing mercy. Remember, out of the abundance of God's mercy, He showed us grace. You will always be merciful. And whenever actually you don't forgive, that means you have what? A merciless heart who will not let go. And Matthew 5:7 tells us, blessed what? The merciful, that's only ones who will obtain mercy. And what does mercy lead us after that? Anybody knows? You have mercy on people, then it will lead you to what? It will lead you to mourn when they mourn. It will lead you to really rejoice when they rejoice. And that is where we have a big problem in our community. Laughing at each other's calamity. We love that. Without mercy, the heart of mercy, you will not rejoice when my sister is rejoicing. You will not mourn when it's mourn, because the Spirit of God is not there. You will rather laugh when that individual is suffering. When you do that in your heart and go in and say you're showing appreciation to God, you're wasting your time. Because when you mock someone who is suffering, you're mocking God. Proverbs 17:5.
Proverbs 17:5.
Yes.
Whoso mocketh the poor reproacheth his maker, and he that is glad at calamities shall not be unpunished.
If the person who is glad at calamity shall not be unpunished and goes and offers sacrifice, you think God will accept it?
No.
I know many of us who have made this mistake I'm talking about now. Please check your heart. That's why he told us in Proverbs 4:23. He said what? Guard your heart with all due diligence. Because out of it, what? All issues of life. His heart, God is checking. Read Proverbs 24, please. 17, 18.
Proverbs 24, 17 and 18.
Mm-hmm.
Rejoice not when your enemy falls, and let not your heart be glad when he stumbles, lest the Lord see it, and it displease him, and he turn away his wrath from him.
Rejoice not. And one thing I want to point to, whatever you do, God, there's an area you have to guard your heart so tight. That is at the point of provocation. Would you be able to really extend mercy in abundance, even when you are provoked? When the test comes, you are challenged. The provocation has come. Somebody has done such evil. You don't know what to do. Would you still be able to extend mercy? That's weird. God tells us, make sure you rejoice. Otherwise, and then, read me Romans 12:12, please.
Romans 12:12. Rejoicing in hope, patient in tribulation, continuing steadfastly in prayer,
Rejoicing in hope, patient in tribulation. That is the toughest area. Is it not true?
Yeah.
Please help me. Patient in tribulation. That's always when a man or a woman is tested. When the tribulation comes and provocation comes. If you can avoid jumping up and saying, what does that man think he is? Huh? He did this to me, man, I will give it to him. And you know, somebody told me one time, I said, you don't even know how I was before in life. I can spy. When I spy, if it were before, man, you already have done it.
Yeah.
Are you following me? Yes, because you see, you are actually cherishing those past days. A child of God no more. The moment tribulation and provocation comes, the Spirit of God tells you, don't worry about it. Rejoice and talk to that individual. Forget about it. Always try to disarm the enemy on the spot. And the greatest, how you can disarm the enemy is what? I'm sorry. My sister have done such a horrible thing, and I'm trying to say, you did something wrong. He said, no, I didn't do it. I said, I'm sorry. I'm the one who did it. Sorry about that. Believe me, I think Brother Godfrey did that, and I was it on Tuesday or whatever, or Saturday. He was coming and approaching me. I said, no, one thing, I'm not happy. There's something you did, and it was your fault. And nothing. I was just even joking. Brother Godfrey said, I know it is my fault, and it's always my fault. So at that point, he disarmed everything. Let the enemy just immediately go, and that's the end of it. Always make sure that your mercy is not conditional, your love is not conditional. It's not when things are going well, but when provocation comes, then there's a different person altogether. Let's make sure, remember when I said that, make sure you are the same during the day and at night. Not when this condition now, something has changed. You see? So please, never let that go. The last one is testimonies. And that is the area that this afternoon the Lord talked to me about something. I said, whoa.
Is that the fourth one?
No, the third one. I said 3 components.
This is the fourth.
This is the third one.
3 components of number 2.
Yes, we're talking about number 2.
I've been talking about number 2 all along.
Okay.
Do unto others as you would like them to do. As God did unto you. It took love. It took everything all the way down. Okay? The third one now is testimony. We love to give testimony. And testimony is very good. But testimony is the least of anything that God expects from us. Our people will not even understand this one now. Testimony, verbal testimony, is the least of all these 3. There is nothing you can do unto God outside the heart that's going to do any good. A testimony from your mouth must also be what? In agreement with what is in your heart. Otherwise, you are giving a false testimony. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Every human being loves for one to testify that or to say thank you. I say it's not true. Every human being does, and God does. Don't get me wrong, because He did that when the lepers were healed. Right? 10 lepers were healed, and only one did what? Didn't Christ made it? He made a note of that, right?
Yes.
It's something with human beings. Each and every one of us would like to hear thank you from somebody, no matter whether we like it. Sometimes you know what we do, we say, don't mention it. Actually, we need mention it. It's true. That you did for me, thank you very much, don't mention it. But if the person, you see, you know how we mean it. If the person actually fails to say thank you, believe me, in our heart we'll be saying, how ungrateful is that person?
Yes.
So then we cannot pretend we're not expecting it. And there's nothing wrong with that, okay? About that. There's nothing. No, it is true. There's nothing about that. We say, oh, that. Don't mention. But actually, we will mention it. Because if you don't mention it, we will take offense. And every human being does, don't get me wrong. You see, because we're supposed to say thank you. But the issue is this. When we have appreciation, Do we do it to entertain ourselves and our friends, or to please God? And this is the question that the Lord asked me. And thank God that I have never had any appreciation of big party or whatever it is. I never had before. I don't know what it is. Maybe I will have it. He was asking me, say, how many times have you actually had like a gathering and you invited the poor, the needy, and the hungry? And I was just saying, I'm telling you, I said, Lord, but how in reality could one just get out there and say, this party I'm going to invite the poor and the needy? He said, well, if you have a budget, listen to me, all of us, please, all of us. He said, you are trying to appreciate me. You call people together, it's fine. As long as you have searched your heart and your heart is right. But have you ever tried the amount you are going to spend? Have you ever tried even 1% of it and buy sandwiches and go and give to the homeless? Yes. He said, you don't have to bring them to your house. If your budget is $1, have you tried to take out 10 cents to say this 10 cents I will devote it to what? The people who can't handle it. Did we get that?
Yes.
Let me Luke 14, please. 12 to 14.
Luke 14, 12 to 14. Then he also said to them, who invited?
What?
Then he also said to him who invited him, when you give a dinner or a supper, do not ask your friends, your brothers, your relatives, your rich neighbors, lest they also invite you back and you be repaid. But when you give a feast, invite the poor, the maimed, the lame, the blind, and you will be blessed, because they cannot repay you, for you shall be repaid at the resurrection of the just.
You shall be repaid when God will remember that. You know, there's one thing I want to tell you is, if we don't remember the needy, then God counts us as wicked. All I'm trying to say that is a different thing we will do. Including myself. Whenever you're appreciating God, remember this. Remember this. That your heart, first of all. Secondly, you can call. You can entertain. Please don't do that. But try to say, Lord, give me the spirit to take even 1 penny and extend it to the poor. And it's very simple, very easy. You can take that 1 penny and put it there to really take care of widows. You can take it and say, well, I buy some sandwiches, let me go under the bridge and the homeless, give it to them. Let the appreciation be complete before the Lord. And that's all I'm saying. Otherwise, God will not accept it. Because you know why? When we do that and invite only those people who will invite us again or regard us and so on, God said, you have not done it unto me. Because there are people who are what? In more dire need than these people you have called to celebrate with you. I'm talking to the children of God. And that's the way to follow it from now. If you do that from now, at least so that this readiness we're talking about and watching will may be complete. And in the end, the Lord will welcome us. Because he said it. If anyone, give me please. Matthew 25, 41.
Matthew 25, 41. Then he will also say to those on the left hand, depart from me, you cursed, into the everlasting fire prepared for the devil and his angels.
Go on.
For I was hungry, and you gave me no food. I was thirsty, and you gave me no drink.
Let's stop right there, please. What I'm saying that from now on, whatever we do, I'm not saying that if you are doing anything that you should over budget. I'm saying that if you're doing anything and the budget is $1, try to think about 1 penny. Let it go. Even somebody may be on the street. Extend and thank God, and the Lord will receive that. You have to be complete in your appreciation. Without it, there's something lacking, and we don't want to be found lacking anywhere. May the Lord Almighty keep all of you, bless you, and help us to really be complete in Him. He is God. There is no other God beside Him. Lord, thank you for speaking to us. Give us that spirit that we may appreciate you fully, and that you alone will be glorified. At the end, Lord, you may say, well done, faithful servant. Glory and blessed be your holy name. In the name of Jesus Christ.